So you might be asking yourself, Mike, why are you driving across a beautiful crop of lentils? Because that combine up there reported a fire. And when a combine reports a fire, it's all hands on deck. And we do keep a fire wagon at every field. When I say every field, it just follows us around from field to field. Now the combines are equipped with fire extinguishers, but when it's 33 degrees out and a 65-kilometer wind, yeah, that ain't gonna do crap. That time when you wish that you could go faster than 10.5 miles an hour, but you can't. The reason why you can't is because, yes, you can shift the speed mode, but that means you got to go to highway mode, in which case you have has to be empty because you have to close it. Yes, that's as fast as you can go. Oh yeah, easy peasy. They already have the fire wagon here. Oh, our mechanic is here, so that's good news. He's been down all day. We're always tinkering on something. We got a sensor going off somewhere. I see dust or smoke. Just dust by the look of it. Hit it with some water and we're all gonna be off for the races, you guys. Get that thing back in the field. Well, let's go see what goes it. What goes it?
Huh?
What happened? I smell smokish.
Oh, she's on fire.
See. What did you do? It's in this concave, so let's start popping some shields off here. Okay. He's dumping water into here on the other side. It's definitely smoking hardcore on the other side, but yeah. What do you think, Freckles?
I see. What's that, number 3? From together?
Well, technically 2 last year.
So yeah.
Here's underneath the rock trap. Everything looks fine. I don't know where this so-called fire is, but it's smoldering. It's not a big one, just smoldering in there. I don't know if he ingested something or not, but we're gonna have to figure it out. Did you ingest something, Jared?
What's that?
Did you take in a rock or something?
Well, I did a little bit, but I got everything shut off.
Yeah, well. Huh?
I thought it went into my rock trap.
Well, we'll figure it out. We'll pull a concave here. This is why our good buddy Hunter doesn't leave. He's like part of the family. Hunter's part of the family. Just short of getting Christmas presents. No, I think you're gonna get a good one this year. Found our problem.
Okay, Mike,
This is the whole rub bar. Here's the rub bar holder, missing whole holder all the way down, plus rub bar. So this whole chunk, because they're chunks, left the combine. So that's our problem. So we gotta find it somewhere in here. Got the concaves apart. Found that piece. There's our problem. This one's folded right around. This is how they're supposed to be. Periodically like that. Rock. Yep. Concave surprisingly in good condition. Everything else is in good condition. Just knocked. It actually just took this, broke. Well, it actually broke all 5 bolts, and then just peeled it right up, and wedged it, and then it was just friction on that rock in there, and started fire. Crisis averted. Other than the fixing of that. Yep. Here's our rock. Right there. There's our nemesis. It's not even that big, really. Well, I'm going combining. But before I do, I'll show you the concave. Where is it? Right here. Look, not even bad. And it's not really even dented. It's really not dented at all. All it is just bent this. That's easily manageable. shape. Good shape. Oh yeah, it's still usable. That's not. Problem is, it doesn't want to move, but it just peeled it right off. So that's not gonna be fun because it actually sheared all the heads off the bolts. So they're gonna have to tap everyone out. And of course, how do you get to those bolts? There's bolts back there. Because it just caved it in, like it just caved it right in on itself. That doesn't look fun. Well, that's the hazard of cutting lentils, you guys. That's the hazards. There's always rocks when you come to lentils. Dump your rock trap often, every couple passes. That's what we tell everybody. And that's why you roll. Because this has been rolled, pushed all the rocks down. See, look at this rock. He's pushed in the ground. If he wasn't, look how big he would be. That's pretty much the size that took out that rotor. That's why you roll, you guys, with the big land roller. But sometimes when you're out here with sprayers and tires and the sprayer tracks can kick up a stone or kick up a rock, or badgers will pull up a rock, maybe not quite that big, but they'll definitely pull up rocks that big when they're digging up the ground. And I'll show you something else here. These honeybees are really good with this gigantic transition plate. 90% of your rocks just sit here because they can't get up this plate. Where the John Deeres that we were running, they only had like this much transition, seriously. And poof, right on their canvas here will go. So really like this. And then this we dump all the time. It's an over-centering latch. Look, everything goes down. Now, again, whatever gets past your transition always lands here. So it's not uncommon to pick up on a headland and see like 1, 2, 3, sometimes even 4 big rocks, bigger than what we just pulled off of this combine, bigger than that. But they won't come off of there, they'll just sit there. Unless you do a stupid like I did today, because you forget, when you turn your headland corner, you always just pick up your header to here. You just pick it up to here. You don't want to pick it up all the way here. Once you pick it up all the way here, then those rocks want to roll off and get into this here center belt. And this center belt is just flying, right? And if anything gets in there, poof, in it goes. So you want to just pick it up enough so nothing hits that belt. Take a peek down from your window. If you see any rocks there, you get out immediately, dump it. So that's the 2 cents on that. Oh, now we're gonna go combining. We're going combining. We're going combining. We got crap to do. Thanks, Hunter. Thank you. You're awesome, man. You're freaking awesome. He is awesome. We love that guy. You want to dump a rock trap? We should dump the rock trap. All this talk about dumping rock trap, let's dump it and see what we got in there. Got to come around on the right hand side of the combine. Grab this lever. Oh, there's a rock. Look at this guy. Most of the time it's just chaff. But if you don't clean out this chaff, then there's no hole. There's a rock trap means there's a pocket in here, right? It's about this deep. So that way, you see that big beater? That beater? Well, it's flying about 100 miles an hour in there, maybe not quite that fast. And any rock that comes, it hits it, boom, and bats it down into there faster than a baseball player bats it home to home base. I don't know what I just said there, but you guys get the point, right? It goes clank, down it goes. But if it's full of chaff, not necessarily rocks, but if it's just full of chaff, it's got nowhere to go. You know what I mean? Get a better look at that front beater. See? John Deere calls them feed accelerators. I guess you could call this a feed accelerator too. But also, and every combine has one, I'm pretty sure anyway. They always have that front feeder up there spinning. Any rock that comes in off your feeder house, bats it down into this pocket, and then you just gotta go and dump them every so often. Adios. Hi, Rickles. Hi, Rickles. Hi, bye, Rickles. So we're just under Sam's combine, and she ingested a rock right there. Now it didn't go in anywhere. That's good. It just got stuck in here, which means it's just got to come out, and we're off to the races. All right, Sam's taking off. We just tested her header. Here's the rock we dug out. Pretty good size, this one. Obviously, when you get rocks that big, they won't even get to the rock trap. So they just typically get stuck at the feeder chain, which is actually takes the crop up the feeder house. So it just sticks, and then the slip clutch on the feeder chain just goes. So then you know that you have a problem. Luckily, normally you break fingers off on the header. Fortunately, we haven't broke any. And that's freaking awesome. Okay. So yeah, sorry about that. I just sat down and then I got called over to dig out a rock. Or help dig out a rock, I should say. Okay. Now, in saying that, as we're combining now, rocks can be a problem. They have never been so much of a problem as they have been in the last hour. Last year, I don't think anybody even put a rock in there, like got stuck in their feeder chain. There's always some rocks in your rock trap. If they're small enough to get up, they're going to go up and they're going to go in your rock trap. That's very, very common. But not to get stuck in your feeder chain, and definitely not to do any rotor damage. Man, I don't even know if I can remember the last time we've ever stuck the rock in and done rotor damage. So that's something that happens like every 20 years or something. So that's very uncommon for that to happen. And our dealer's so awesome, they're going to have us up and operational here most likely tomorrow, because it's already evening. So yeah. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in. And we are cutting red lentils, and this is what happens when you cut red lentils or chickpeas. You're cutting right on the ground. That cutter bar is right flat on the ground, grading that ground. Now, you do have, you can tip your header back like this. You can even tip your feeder house back like this. You can also tip them forward if you would like to. So there's a fine line between tipping back so much where you don't have to worry about the rocks, and then in which case you wouldn't do a good job cutting. So you want to do a good job cutting, which means you need to have the knife at least close to level. If it's a really short crop, you're going to have to actually have the knives pointed down toward the crop, in which case, oh baby, that's the rock picking. Poof, 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 and rocks are going in like crazy. So typically you want them flat like this, maybe back a little bit. You can have them back like this if you're cutting a really good crop. So it just depends on your conditions. Alright. Now let's talk about fire for a second, you guys. As you heard me earlier in this video talk about fire when the combine reported a fire. Anytime a combine reports a fire, it's all hands on deck. Typically we have a fire wagon, which is a truck or a water tank, fire hose, something with like 200 to 300 gallons of water, always following us around in the field. Guys have mounted tanks to their grain carts. We haven't gone that route yet, but it's very common. So anyway, fires during harvest is again very common. Happens all the time, you guys. Last year these ideals, they had 2 gearboxes that heated up on them and started on fire. Now the whole combine wasn't on fire, but there was definitely smoldering and small flames at the top of the gearbox. Now that has all since been replaced. Bigger gearboxes, so that won't happen again. But you know, if it's not a gearbox, it could be a rock, like just friction in your rotor. If you take a rock in, it can be bearings. Bearings are very common, you guys. If you have a bearing go, they get hot, right? If a bearing goes, it gets hot, and lots of times combines will just burn right down. It can be electrical faults. It could be chaff over the exhaust at the back. It could be anything. And I'm not talking Fendt, I'm not talking John Deere, I'm not talking just Case of New Holland. I'm talking all the colors. Every color out there has had a combine burned down. Claws and all, okay? So this is very common. It's just, and some crops are more flammable than others. Like for example, lentils are very flammable. Their dust is very flammable. Peas, very flammable. Where wheat and durum is not nearly as flammable. So, you know, you get a little bit of that dust, you take a lighter to it, it goes like that. It's just poof, it just goes up in flames like that. So, and again, it depends on how dry, how dry right now the conditions here are very dry, you guys. It's very dry. We're actually under fire ban warnings under the RM. If you were to go to the forest and that big arrow pointing green, yellow, or red, we would definitely be in the red, okay? We're definitely in the red. So, and the thing is, as you guys know, we get tons of wind down here. So if a fire ever gets going, it's going, gone, because what the heck is ever going to stop it? It could go for 60 miles. Where's it ever going to go? It's just all ripe crop and dead grass. you know, you get a fire going in a crop like this, you can't stop it with water. So the water is only there to try and put it out quickly. You got to get to it quickly. If it gets into your field, you could probably get it out quickly. Otherwise, we have a Pro-Till, which is the Dagomin high-speed disc. I actually have a video of that if you scroll down into the 1050 Pro-Till. We carry that around with us, typically not too far away. In case a fire ever did get going, we would just dump that thing in the ground and go about 14 mile an hour and just start disking down crop. Yes, we would actually disc down our crop and our neighbor's crop, because we would be better off to disc some of it and save all of it, or most of it, than not disc any of it, and he'd lose it all. So, and you know what? Speaking about neighbors, if we see smoke coming from 20 miles away, we are instantly trying to figure out who that is and whether we should go. We typically shut 1 or 2 combines down immediately to go and investigate that fire, because neighbors help neighbors, farmers help farmers, and if you don't go help your neighbor as a farmer, he ain't coming to help you when you have a fire. So what goes around comes around. So we might not be stopping for our fires, but we're definitely stopping also for our neighbors' fires, and vice versa. They would do the exact same for us. So if we were to say have a big fire, there is no fire truck to come down, you guys. There is no fire truck. The closest fire truck is like an actual big fire engine is probably 100 miles away. Well, the whole country would be completely gone by the time that truck ever got down here, all right? So every farmer has a fire wagon, whether that be just a tank in their truck with a pump, or they actually have a very elaborate system. Maybe it even has a fire truck. Hold on, let me turn this off. But every farmer has something, and every farmer has it on the corner of the field. So if all of a sudden you see smoke, all of a sudden you're going to see like 50 farmers show up. And when there's 50 farmers showing up down here in the Southwest, that's pretty much the whole country, you guys, because there's not a lot of farmers down here. And that's just what we do. We help each other out. And I believe that to be everywhere. But yeah, that's what we do. And in saying that, I hope that I don't have to show you guys a fire. I don't want to have to do that. That would not, like an actual field fire, that is not fun, all right? Because that's when Pro-Till's got to get involved, this has got to get involved, graders are coming and they're plowing big ridges in your field to try and slow that fire down, and it can be big. Like, it's been big enough down here in the past they have to call water bombers in, all right? You don't want to have freaking water bombers coming down. That gets very expensive, never mind all the crop that's gone. And then it gets kind of awkward when if your combine starts a fire and burns like a couple of fields of your neighbors. That's that awkward time where, hey, you just burnt my field down. Oh man. But no, we have awesome neighbors. They're freaking great. We love them, and we would go fight their fire, and we know that they would have our backs as well. So I'm going to conclude. I'm done wasting your guys' time. That's just a little bit in the Southwest Saskatchewan fire world. Adios, amigos.